Have you ever felt you are experiencing a time from a distant past?
A premonition that something is about to happen and it has happened before and you know it's going to happen.
The holy books of Ramayana mention an extremely revered celestial humanoid being called Hanuman. The recent research, like the research that people like Nilesh Oak has done, has established that these books could be written probably around 14,000 years ago based on astronomical, terrestrial, and genetic evidence. Hanuman is a major figure in the Ramayanas. And even though that many years has been passed, still people would claim that they see Hanuman in different forms, in different places, all around the Indian subcontinent. For example, there is a tribe called Mathang tribe in Sri Lanka. They claim that Lord Hanuman visits them every 41 years. So they think that next arrival of Lord Hanuman would be around 2055. The leader of the tribe record every minute of Hanuman's presence every 41 year in the logbook of the tribe.
Evidences of non-linear time exist all over. For example, there are these temples in Palenque, Mexico. Not temples, but ancient tombs. They're supposed to be a few thousand years ago, made by the Mayans. And suddenly there is this depiction of a modern astronaut on one of these tombs. So the question arises, where the people from future went back all the way to the past and made these tombs, or was this temple or this depiction was actually created in the future, and we are perceiving them in the past in our linear time again.
The local legends are full with stories of people who find Hanuman providing them with wisdom and service whenever they needed him the most. So I believe that Hanuman transcends timelines as we understand it.
So it doesn't really matter if people are seeing Hanuman in real form around them in today's time being. Reality, or as we perceive it, it is almost impossible that a physical being can exist over millions of years. So regardless where Hanuman exists in the physical form today or not, it is undeniable that people are experiencing Hanuman all over.
The non-linearity of time gets very more prominent and pronounced in energy vortexes. When I visited Tarapit, an ancient temple that is recognized in many cultures, including Buddhist and Bengali tradition, as the birthplace of Tantra, I experienced these collapses of timelines.
The Buddha, thousands of years ago, sent one of his most prominent disciple, Vasishtha, over to Tarapit, where Vasishtha did penance by reciting the Tara mantra over 300,000 times, thereby laying the foundations of the Buddhist tantric traditions.
So when I was meditating at Tarapit, I experienced these mystical beings, Nagas underground tunnels that were filled with blue lights. So I felt that these underground tunnels were connected to Varanasi. Varanasi is the oldest living city on the planet and is related to Shiva. I had this vision of a Neptunian aquatic being in blue color who was half human, half a snake, and he was carrying the pure love, wisdom, and a stillness vibration of Shiva. So I could see the relationship between the Neptune's planet vibration of stillness and deep meditation with Shiva, and also the relationship between Neptune and Shiva with Tara, who is the deity of the temple, the Tarapi temple. I experienced an intense activation of my third eye. After I had these experiences, I had an informal conversation with one of the descendants of Bama Kepa, who was a mystic who revived the popularity of Therapy a few hundred years ago. And I realized that he had also a vision of a blue star that landed in those grounds. So that was a confirmation for me that even though there was no evidence of blue color like in the temple, around the temple, still that blue color was present there in a different parallel timeline.
Time had been studied, explored, and understood, both in the terms of modern quantum physics and in the Vedas, the books from ancient India. In both these texts, in both these concepts, we are beginning to look at time as a dynamic, living object and not as a linear entity. Multiple universes, sometimes referred to as multiverses, are being understood today because we are beginning to understand the coexistence of the past, future, and present.
The idea of multiverses, where multiple timelines coexist, opens the idea of accessing infinite timelines from the past and future right here, right now. According to Einstein theory, everything is vibration, everything is energy.
So Einstein created this famous equation, energy equals mass and the speed of light, speed being a derivative of time. So by this equation, even though it's a simplistic formula, what we can infer from it is time, mass, and energy are all interchangeable.
So that suggests that if we learn how energy works and how it interacts with matter, we can direct energy.
If we really figure out how we can bring some sort of control over energy, we can use this information for manifesting.
We can manifest things that gives us happiness, joy, and fulfillment. From the ancient times, people were doing all sorts of rituals to bring some order into this chaotic manifestation of energy. Like Egyptians made pyramids, the Mayans did sacrifices, the Nordic pagans, they walked with the gods. In the Indian subcontinent, the practices of shifting energy and the attempt to give order to this chaos called Tantra. Tantra means woven together in Sanskrit. Woven together like an intricate machine that all the elements and all the pieces are put together for it to work perfectly. It involves weaving together various forms of mantras, chanting, meditations, and rituals. Tantra is an advanced knowledge about how our body and mind works as an intricate system of energy, and how its interaction with time and space can shape our reality. In a way, we are giving the energies that are accessible to us a direction with a goal in our mind, with a vision that we have. We know how to create what we want with the tools that we have inside and all around us. The goal could be enlightenment, it could be expansion of our consciousness, it could be abundance and prosperity, or manifesting a lover. The end goal of Tantra is the alchemical merge of our energy body with our divine sacred energies. As these bodies join, we grow and we integrate ourselves with the divine aspects of the self. In order to create our super self, to be empowered and to manifest, we can energetically merge with different versions of ourselves that exist in multiple timelines.
There is a conception in the West that Tantra is simply a system to have better sex. I would not say that this idea is completely incorrect. In today's world, while having sex is one time that human beings create an insane amount of energy release. A master in shifting energies can harness into this energy release and use that to manifest and achieve whatever they want.
Rituals in vortexes are a lot more powerful since the veil between the timelines are a lot thinner in vortexes. So whatever seed we are putting while performing a ritual, the alignment of energy is a lot faster and precise.
So when we go to a Shaktipeeth, a Tarapeeth, or any vortex, all of us feel something. These vortexes are these swirling centers of energy which are super conducive to inner exploration and manifestation. But we have to wonder, what makes a vortex a vortex? So what happens is, especially in the Shaktipeeths, there is this certain totems that exist. Sometimes it's a stone. We went to the Shaktipeeth, there's a big stone, and that's supposed to be a celestial part of a celestial being. Let's consider what makes this stone so important. And one way to explain this thing is, at some point in the past, if we consider time as linear, there has been a time when these different dimensions of time and space came really close to each other. And when they were close to each other, when Shiva was doing his dance of Sati, which is a celestial event, this stone was created. Now, something that is created out of any mechanism retains a lot of properties of that mechanism. For example, if you take a piece of iron and put it in an electromagnetic field, it will become a magnet. We can take the electromagnetic field out, but the magnet remains a magnet. So if you bring other pieces of metal around it, it's going to act just like a magnet. So what turned this iron into a magnet is the presence of a certain field at some point of linear time as we understand it. So these stones, whether they were asteroids that just came from the planet, whether they were just created on this earth with a divine mechanism, these stones, these places mark locations where time and dimensions interact and intersect with each other. So when we can go there, we can imagine that the veil, the distance between different dimensions is very thin. So if we go ahead and tune ourselves with the vibrations of these dimensions in these vortexes, in the Shaktipeeth, we can learn how to harness these different dimensions.
I visited one of the most ancient Shiva temple in Tiruvannamalai, some important Shaktipeeths in West Bengal, and the ancient shore temple of Mahabalipuram, to name a few. The portal to my life purpose opened up, and I received an abundance of information and visions from my ancestors and my celestial energy body. It was like my DNA got activated in these sacred vortexes, and I had a more intense experience of merging with my sacred divine energies that exist in multiple timelines.
The same traditions that told us about rituals also gives us crystals. When you go to an astrologer, when you go to an energy worker, sometime they will prescribe you to wear an emerald or something else on your body. And we started studying crystals.
Many times during my meditation practices, I realized that using a particular gemstone enhanced my ability to channel energies with greater power and clarity. With a specific gemstone, I was able to channel a specific vibration. I realized that gemstones play a crucial role in channeling and amplifying energy in its purest form of vibration, free from any distracting interference.
What crystals do, as we understand, is due to the super uniform molecular structure. They let energy pass through them in a predefined, organized manner. In a regular electronic circuit, we have learned how to harness this property of a quartz crystal to create precise timing mechanism. So we have all these random circuits that are sitting around, and we pass it to a quartz crystal, and the quartz crystal turns it into a super uniform heartbeat, if I must say, so that the rest of your computer works just fine.
I was first inspired to meditate with crystals when I visited Joshua Tree in California in the desert. I charged my crystals in the energy of Joshua trees and the sacred energies that they were present in the desert. Later in South India, I meditated with my crystals that I used to charge under the tropical vegetation of my backyard.
Now, we don't fully understand how this happened, but we are realizing that if we take this crystal and we put this crystal, we give the stimulation to this crystal and observe how the crystal behaves. If we go ahead and pass a light source to a crystal placed in a high vibration place, we record that high vibration, and then we go ahead and transmit the output of this crystal to another similar crystal. This becomes a way for us to boost, amplify, and access this energy source in the vortex from a distance further away. One thing you would see if you are one of the fortunate ones that get to visit one of the Shakti Peeths is you would just sit around and you will observe how many rituals are happening out there. People go ahead and they talk to their spiritual guides, their astrologers, their energy workers to travel with them to the Shakti Peeths. And they do these havans, they do these rituals with fire and material so that they can go ahead and figure out how to bring some sort of order into this chaos. Some others like us probably live a little too far away from one of the Shakti Peeths to visit them on a regular basis. And Bahar and I have been really trying to figure out how we can go ahead, what we can do by using today's technology to make these rituals, make these vortexes a little more accessible.
These energies of divine deities and higher vibrational beings inspired me to channel them into my artistic expression in the form of painting, sculptures, and immersive art experiences. I had visions to create devices that connect people to subtle vibrations, which otherwise someone might miss, as the interferences of modern life affects one's sensitivity. Also, developing these skill sets takes a long time Sometimes it can take a few lifetimes.
So we have been working on this crystal device where we take an altar and we place a crystal in the altar. And we use, and a similar crystal is also placed in a bigger altar while we are doing the rituals in these vortexes. These two crystals communicate with each other over normal communication waves. We record the stimulation given outputted by the crystals at the ritual. We record it, we transmit using Bluetooth and cellular technology to this device, and so that when you go ahead and meditate with this crystal, you get the same effect or a similar effect as being physically present in one of these vortexes.
I couldn't wait to bring my visions to life, so I started drawing them. This is one of the drawings that inspired the three-dimensional form of the device. As you see, there is a central device there that is charging the crystal, and there are two people sitting meditating with the device while wearing bracelets which are connected to the central device. This is another drawing I created of the device in a temple. This is the first three-dimensional version of our device. We are incorporating the technology soon, and I'm very excited to create a more joyful planet.